'cause showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime. Now it's showtime.
Are we there? Oh, Lord, I gotta tell you, it is a morning of problems. A morning of problems. I'm so glad you are here with me, and I'm so sorry that I am late. My motorcycle decided not to start at the park on our way home, and that's not good. And so that meant that, guess what? I had to walk home with Ember, and we did. We walked home. And yeah, that's why I'm late this morning. So now it's at the shop, and we get I think a $1,900 bill, which is amazing to me because, let's be real, the bike only cost $12,000 out the door. So how a repair could cost 20% of that, I don't know. But we are living in that kind of world. All right, we got so much to talk about today. And can I just start with some shit I saw online about Shia LaBeouf? So Shia LaBeouf has been arrested again. He's beaten up every girlfriend he's ever had. And now he's running around with the gay panic defense, saying that when gay people are around him, he gets scared. And if they touch him, he gets scared. Well, yeah, that's how women feel around you, honey. But now he's also out saying he's a traditional Catholic and that homosexuality is in the Bible and it's wrong, which means he knows nothing of what he's talking about. It is not in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible does Christ or anyone address homosexuality. If anyone has told you they do, they're reading the wrong interpretation of the Bible. It's never mentioned, ever, ever. The Leviticus was misinterpreted. Scholars all agree it did not mean gay people. So, more importantly, time to cancel Shia LaBeouf. He's a woman beater. Now he's a gay hater. He must go. We have Timothy Chalamet. We no longer have a need for Shia LaBeouf. But I just wanted to give you... So, I'm talking to the hospital this morning. Roseanne appears to be better this morning. Better being a relative term. She's still in ICU. But, better. She's on 10 liters of oxygen, but at least she's not on a ventilator. So I'm dealing with that and the family this morning. And then, I go to the park and the bike won't start and I have a tow truck take it to Eurocycle and they call me within like 20 minutes. They had it like at 9 a.m. They had it diagnosed. And it was, 9:30. And it was, I don't even want to go into it, but it's $1,900. And then I'm walking home with Ember because an Uber was going to take 20 minutes to come get us. And I'm reading online and I see this Shia LaBeouf stuff. And I think, as a gay person, I get so tired every day in our country of waking up and having some negative news. Today, Tennessee is trying to invalidate same-sex marriages. Even though it goes against the Supreme Court, they say the Supreme Court was wrong. And that, because that's what bigots do. When the Supreme Court integrated schools, there were people who said, no, the Supreme Court is wrong. So in Tennessee, why would any queer live in Nashville? See, this is what I never understand. Florida has a huge population of gays, and yet they are so anti-gay there. They just stopped funding HIV meds. You can't have a rainbow sidewalk or they'll paint over it. They're so anti-gay, but the queens still live there. And this is what's fucking wrong with America. Oppressed people who are being discriminated against, they still empower their discriminators. And they do it for various reasons. Oh, well, I'm going to stay and fight, or I'm going to this. Fuck that. If you're gay, get the fuck out of Tennessee. Take your money someplace else. Someplace that appreciates it, that doesn't want to invalidate your marriages. If you are gay and live in Nashville, get out. If you're gay and live in Florida, you shouldn't. And I tell my friend David Etheridge, who lives in Orlando all the time, but he's like, Orlando's blue and there's lots of gay people. Yeah, but you're still feeding money to a homophobic state. And we do the same thing with everything. People that oppress us, that take our rights, that discriminate against us, that legislate against us, still get our vote, still get our money. Companies still get our money. Oi! Just
If you're not visiting
oi.
reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So, MAGA and the MAGA influencers will, and by the way, they're all turning on Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene was swearing yesterday. She was swearing about Donald Trump. She was all, what the fuck? Oh yeah, she's so mad at his Israel-driven war, because that's what it is. And for once, Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually seeing the light, and she's all, why are we fighting a war for Israel? And Donald Trump said America first, and he pledged on the campaign trail that he would not get us into foreign wars, and that he would not get us involved, and now he's going to invade the fucking Middle East and start a war? Oh, Marjorie, I just want to give you a hug and say, oh, you poor dear. You see, you were such an idiot, you bought his line of shit. We told you. Kamala Harris told you. Hillary Clinton told you. Michelle Obama told you. My glasses won't get clean, by the way. Everybody told you. You wouldn't listen. You were blinded by the Trump. That should be a parody song. Blinded by the Trump. Wrapped up like his diaper. Another turdy in the night. So anyway, you were taken by his, I don't know what. But now you see him for who he really is, a liar. And you're out there screaming, what is he doing? And Megyn Kelly, she's seen the light. And she's all, what is he doing? What is he doing? You stupid bitches. You know what? He's doing what we told you he would do, you dense hoes. So he had this conference or word salad meeting where he said, oh, there was an imminent threat. They were going to attack us. Lie. Lie. First of all, they can't attack us. They could attack our air bases overseas, but they can't attack the U.S., so they were no threat to us. They were a threat to Israel. But second, these influencers and these people will say shit that just is not founded in fact and not true. They did it about Joe Biden. They said so many lies about Biden. But what I'm about to say, I have the proof to back up. Donald J. Trump is a bigger imminent threat to the security and safety of the United States and the world than Iran. I'll say it again. Donald J. Trump is a bigger imminent threat to the United States and to the world than Iran. Period. And oh, I have the proof. You want receipts, baby? I got the receipts. Okay? We witness the receipts every day. Every day in public life, DJT proves that he is a bigger threat to our safety, our sovereignty, our civil rights, our economic flourishment, ability to flourish, than any other factor. His tariffs have cost you $1,700 a year. That's about $150, $140 a month. Did you have that to pay as a tax? He's basically taxed you $140 a month. His war in Iran's about to cost you 30 to 50 cents more per gallon at the pump, which is $5 to $10 more per fill-up. Were you ready to pay that? His war in the Middle East is about to cost you 10 to 20% more at the grocery store. Were you ready to pay that? He is a bigger threat to the American way of life than Iran ever thought of being. In fact, he is the biggest threat to our safety and our sovereignty. And for that and that alone, he should be removed from office by Congress. But then again, when you have a Congress this inept, this ridiculous, they all should be removed. And that really brings me to one of our first topics. There were primaries yesterday. And James Tallarico beat Jasmine Crockett in Texas. And if you add up the amount of votes that he got, and if you add in Jasmine Crockett's votes, the Democrats got far more votes than the Republicans. So if this continues, Texas will flip blue. Okay? Now, what amazed me about the results that came in from the various primaries that were yesterday was that people still actually vote for the Republican Party. Granted, in lesser numbers, but still, the fact that any person that calls themselves an American could vote for the most un-American party that there is currently in our political system is amazing to me. The Republican Party is the most anti-American party to ever be recognized in the history of the United States. And again, I got the receipts. Come for me. I dare you. I got the receipts. They have voted against more Americans and against the interest of more Americans than any other party in our history. And not just because they're conservative. They voted against a woman by taking away her right to choose. They subjugated her to second-class citizen. There are many that want to repeal a woman's right to vote. They are open and public about that. There are many Republicans that say women shouldn't work, their place is in the home. These are politicians, not just rank and file, politicians that say that. Republicans are anti-gay, anti-trans. They're anti-immigrant. They're anti-black. They do not support Black Lives Matter. They're not against fascism. They are for fascism because they are against Antifa. And the literal definition of Antifa is anti-fascist. And they call Antifa a terrorist organization. When again, Donald J. Trump is the biggest threat to America's safety, sovereignty, and security, and the Republican Party is another threat to our safety and our sovereignty of all American people. And just like gays will still live in Florida, and just like gays will still live in Tennessee, even though both those states are showing how anti-gay they are, Americans will still vote for Republicans, even though they have proven they would rather spend money on detention centers to put American citizens in. And Kristi Noem lied under oath when she said that no Americans have been arrested and put in detention centers. They have. And they would rather spend money on that than SNAP. They would rather spend money on detention centers than affordable housing. They would rather spend money on ICE than FEMA. They are anti-American. How they get an American to vote for them proves how stupid some Americans are. And the proof is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a woman of low intellect. Now, she may be fun at a party. And hey, you know what? Given her new attitude, she and I might even be friends one day. But I'm telling you this, she's not the brightest bulb in the world. Because anyone that could have been fooled by Donald Trump is a complete idiot. They don't have it all up here. Or an opportunist who thought they could exploit him for their own means, like the rich people. So you're either very rich and needed him so you could get tax breaks and such, or you're very stupid. And the Republican Party continues to capitalize on the very rich and the very stupid. because no one other than a person of limited IQ would vote for a Republican in today's age. You can be a conservative. You can hate Democrats. You can hate Democratic policies. That doesn't mean you support the Republicans. There are other parties that you can support or simply be an independent. Because you're stupid otherwise. I'd like to say hello to everyone in the chat room at youtube.com/reallykarel, and a very special hello to all the patrons at patreon.com/reallykarel, with the name spelled Karel. To all of the patrons, you are helping the show become one of the top-rated independent podcasts in the world. We are now ranking in the top 10% of independent podcasts. And that means a podcast that is not backed by Lemonada or iHeart or Odyssey or any of that. Independent podcast. The Karel Cast, the Karel Show, is in the top 10% of independent podcasts. Because most podcasts don't get more than 1,000 downloads a month. Most podcasts do not. Most podcasts on YouTube do not get more than 100 views per episode. So because of the patrons who allow this show to proceed at patreon.com/reallykarel, which you can become a member. Because what I do every month, I remove my videos from YouTube and make them unlisted so only the patrons can access the archive. The videos stay live for a month on YouTube, the whole shows, and then after a month, I make them unlisted and only patrons can see them. So if you want access to the archive, you got to be a patron. So patreon.com/reallykarel. I thank all the super patrons like James Schnabel and so many others, Sue Yeager and Randy Radar and Rachel Capper. I could just go down the list. There's so many of you who are such great supporters, and I thank you. All right. Be sure to hit the like button, and if you have a nice friend, tell them to subscribe. So Republicans are an un-American party. Now, I don't like the Democrats are trying to be Republican light in order to win. Now, this James Tallarico guy, he's personable. I like him. But he's a Republican. In any other era, he would have run as a Republican. He's a Bible thumper, although he said something very powerful. He said the United States is not a Christian nation. The United States is a nation where you are free to be Christian. Holy fuck me, Batman. That was powerful. He said that on Bill Maher to Lauren Boebert's face. Both of them. He said the United States, because she said the U.S. is a Christian nation. And she also said our founders were Christian. That's a myth. They were not. Modern day Christians would not think the beliefs of our founders were in line with Christianity. They were deist. They were not Christians. But what a powerful statement. The United States is not a Christian nation. It's a nation where you're free to be Christian. But he also said that it's not a smart thing to shove your religion down someone else's throat. That he doesn't approve of the 10 Commandments in a classroom because it leaves out Muslims and Buddhists and so many others. Atheists, agnostics, which he mentioned. And he has to mention them. According to a new survey from Gallup, 20% of America now identify as having no religion. 20%, up from 3 to 4% historically. Now it's 20%. And only 18% said they go to church regularly. Now, in the Republican Party, they lie, and that number is much higher. But that's a lie. They say what they think they should do. They don't say what it is they do. They just say what they think they should do. Oh, yes, I believe in God. Oh, yes, I go to church. When's the last time? Oh, Christmas 2 years ago. So, of course, they now have to start appealing to those who don't believe in God because guess what? And in terms of 18 to 29-year-olds, 40% don't believe in a God. Young people are abandoning religion because they're sick of it. They're sick of being called bad because of it. They're sick of the confines of it and the distortion of it. So people like Tallarico have to speak to people who are not Christian. And he's doing it. And that led him to victory in Texas. Because he said, I'm a Christian, I have Christian values, but I just don't believe we should do this, this, and this. And yet people still voted for the Republicans in Texas. People still voted for the party of war, the party of poverty. That's all they are. The Republican values are war, warmongering, keeping people poor and stupid. That's their mantra. That's who they are. So the fact that in this upcoming election, people are actually going to vote for them, or that some of the races might be tight, is a testament to the stupidity of the American voter. It really is. Because they vote against their best interests. If you are an American and not a millionaire, and you vote for the Republican, you're voting against America. And I got the receipts to back that up, honey. Got them right here in my pocket. Want to see? I can show you the receipts, honey.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
He's a progressive Christian. What a nice thing to say, James Schnabel. I would argue that there is no such thing, but what a nice thing to say. Really. I have to tell you all something that's going to bother you, okay? This is going to bother you. I don't like people that are Christians. Now, if you listen to me and you're a Christian, I'm not saying I don't like you per se, but as a whole, I don't like Christians. I was watching one of my murder, death, kill shows last night, and it was about a very famous case, Lori something or Lori Volt, I forget her name, but she and this guy that would become her husband killed her ex-husband. He killed his wife. They both killed her two young children, 16-year-old and 7-year-old. And then they got caught, and now they're serving multiple life sentences. The son, very handsome, the son that lived, very, very handsome. That's why I watched it. He's so hot. Is Christian. And the way that he behaved, I openly said out loud, young Christian white men are weird. And they are. Look at Turning Point USA. Look at those young white Christian men. They're weird. They're almost Nazis. Look at Charlie Kirk, a young white Christian male. He was fucking weird. Had weird beliefs. And so young male Christians, I don't like them. They're weird. They behave weird, they talk weird, and they'll be anti-gay like Shia LaBeouf, who professes to be a Christian, and then turn around and do things that are not Christian, like judge people, like not love everybody like you love yourself, not like treat everybody with dignity and respect and leave it to God to judge. They go about their lives in anti-Christian ways. The only progressive Christian would be a Christian that denounced the church. Because organized religion has done more to harm more people throughout history. And I have the receipts again. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. But the Christian faith has done more to harm the world than any other thing, period, throughout history. Followed hugely by the Muslim faith, and now the Jewish faith. I mean, look what's going on in the Middle East. This is a religious war. That's what it is. People are acting like it's, Israel versus Iran. No, it's Jew versus Muslim. That's what it is. Iraq, it was the Sunnis versus the Shia. It was two types of Muslim fighting. That's what it was. Sunni versus Shia. Religious wars have been fought for centuries. Religious wars. Do you hear the oxymoron there? Religious war. Something that would not be condoned by God, sanctioned by God, and where God would send everyone to hell for fighting. So I look at Christianity as one of the most detrimental things to happen to the human species. Animals don't have religion, and they don't have religious wars. Animals don't have religion, and they don't discriminate against other animals for having an abortion or being gay, which there are many gay animals. Religion has caused me more strife in my lifetime than any other social factor, period. As a 63-year-old gay man, I am telling you, religion has caused me and my community more harm than anything else, than AIDS or anything. Religion. And that's just a fact. So, it's like Catholics. Shia LaBeouf said, well, I'm a devout Catholic. Then you're part of the largest child rape ring in the world, and that's okay with you, but being gay is bad. So priest raping boys is okay with you. You'll be a member of an organization that lets priests rape boys. But then being gay is going over the line for you? The same with the Pope. The Pope will lead an organization where priests rape boys to this day. But he'll denounce the gay lifestyle? Won't recognize trans people? It makes no sense. As Mr. Spock would say, that, sir, is illogical. So why anyone, and that ties right into the Republican Party. They latch on to Christians. And they claim they're the party of God. They're the party of Christians. And yet the Republicans behave in the most reprehensible, non-Christian way. Right now, they are protecting men who have sex with underage girls. That's really Christian, isn't it? That's a pretty Christian thing to do, isn't it? And evangelicals line up to vote for these assholes. They cheat on their wives. They sleep with other men. They foster or have babies out of wedlock. And yet evangelicals line up to vote for them because they're the party of God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Makes sense to me. Not. The party of God would be about helping the poor, would be about empowering gays and lesbians and trans people, would welcome the immigrant and the poor. The party of God would be more democratic. But, who's anyone to make sense out of all of this, right? I mean, I don't think God should be. I agree with James Tallarico on that point. America is not a Christian nation. It is a nation where you are free to be Christian. But you're also free to not be Christian. Christians love to shove their shit down our throats every single day. And then they complain that gay people, I don't mind gays, they just shove it down our throats. You mean like you do your religion every fucking chance you get? Okay. That's always amazed me. Well, you can be gay, but you don't have to shove it down my throat. Well, you can believe in a fairy tale, but you don't have to shove it down mine. Make laws around it. Set up a society around it. Things that don't make sense. That's this whole show today. Things that don't make sense. Things that make you go. I'm going. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Trump.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
Let's talk of the Christian values, shall we? Shall we talk of the Christian values? Donald Trump professes to, be the president for the Christians. Yesterday, he killed 185 schoolgirls. Yep, school children. Yep, in Iran, a U.S. missile took out a school and killed 185 kids. Yep. Today, he killed 118 people on an Iranian warship. Yep. 180 kids. Something tells me Christ wouldn't look fondly upon that, killing 185 of his children. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, maybe I don't understand Christianity. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I don't get the true, although I've read the Bible more than most Christians, maybe I just don't get how God would condone killing 185 children. But we did. We did. They're buried in debris, dead. Just like the 118 that died on the warship, drowned, eaten by sharks, mangled or mauled by the explosion. Oh, yeah. But, we should be proud of that. That's a victory. We killed 118 people on an Iranian warship. Woohoo! Go America. Wow, right? Meanwhile, U.S. reservists have been killed in Kuwait. Americans are dying as well. And for what again? What? How is this an imminent threat to America? I keep missing that part of his speech. I keep looking for it. When he's doing his word salad, crapping in his diaper with his shingles creeping up the side of his face, as this crud eats his neck. I keep looking for the reason. So I could say, okay, no, we needed to do that. That was a good expenditure. $50 billion a day. We have already spent almost $300 billion. It'll be over $1 trillion with a T. And your little brain cannot comprehend what $1 trillion is. You have no idea. Your brain can't do it. And yet, we'll spend $1 trillion. For what again? To kill school children? They were an imminent threat, these school kids? To sink a battleship and say it's a victory and kill 118 people? Meanwhile, U.S. service members killed in Iran? A Minnesota mom? An Iowa college student? Yeah, they deserved to die, didn't they? And for what? For what? Over 900 people have been killed in the fighting so far that we know of. 900 in the Middle East. In hotels that have been hit or airports that have been. 900. Almost 1,000 people dead today that were alive 5 days ago. And who killed them? Donald Trump. You'll say, well, Iran launched. Why did they launch missiles? Iran wasn't lobbing missiles at anyone but Israel prior to this. So why did those 900 die? Because Donald Trump wanted them to. Because he wants to distract the country from the fact that he is in the Epstein files so badly that he will kill 1,000 people to make sure there's no hearings that subpoena him. Oh no, Hillary Clinton, sure. Bill Clinton, absolutely. Donald Trump? No. He's too busy killing 1,000 people. And that's just the beginning, he says. Every one of those deaths on his hands. He doesn't care. And yesterday, Peter Hegsworth made it clear he doesn't care either. He said out loud, we're not interested. We don't care about casualties. We care about winning. That's what he said. Those were his words, not mine. So, that's where we are. 900 people killed. We've got, Trump's reasoning for the strikes. Oh, they were an imminent threat. Really? Really? Now, ICE has spun a massive surveillance web online And someone asked me if I'm still using ChatGPT, because ChatGPT did back down to the president. And Anthropic did not. And subsequently, ChatGPT got a Pentagon contract and Anthropic
did. Daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
You know, we were talking Christians. This is how triggered Christians are. Conservative Christians are outraged that Levi Jeans would use the musician Doechii, Doechii. You may not know her. 2 years ago at the Grammys, she did an incredible performance. She was nominated for Best New Artist. She's a rapper. I think she's out of Florida or the Caribbean, somewhere, you know, over there. And she's an incredible performer. She really is going to be around a while. And she's in a Levi ad. Well, she's queer. She identifies as queer. Christians freaking the fuck out. Why? Would Christ want you to do that? No. And don't get me started on the LDS people. Oh my God. So on these murder, death, kill shows that I watched, I've watched 4 now. 4. Where the killers, the abusers, were from the LDS church. 4. 1, she abused her children so bad that her son escaped and went to a house next door down the hill and said, "Please help me." And when the guy saw this kid at his door, he couldn't believe it. You know, arms and legs this big around. And the woman saying, "Well, I had to teach him the way of God." And then this one woman that I watched last night, where her and her husband killed their kids, killed their other spouses. Guess what church she was a member of? LDS. There's an entire series called Mormon Murderers. I've seen it, all 10 episodes. The LDS church has some of the most whacked out killers of all religions. And yet they're going to be upset at Doechii in a Levi ad. Okay. If that's, you know. Meanwhile, gasoline and diesel prices have spiked. And, you know, that's going to be when diesel goes up, what do you think big trucks take? You know? What do you think big trucks take? I think they take diesel. That's what I think. Sorry, my nieces were texting me for updates on my sister. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, the world's screwed up. Let's talk about something that I truly love. Let's talk about dogs. There was a New York Times article that said, and I've read 3 articles of late. So, research tells us that having a pet, you live longer. But now they're trying to say, well, that's not true. That while you may be healthier because you walk the dog, there are plenty of dog owners who get fat and their dogs get fat and they don't walk. And, you know, and they actually say the heartbreak of having to say goodbye can actually shorten your life and cause mental duress. No shit. I've read countless research reports. Yesterday, I read 12 from the NHS, from the World Health Organization. And let me tell you, whatever you're reading about pets, the definitive answer is they help you live longer. The amount of evidence is just insurmountable. And the amount against that says, well, no, they don't really, and you know, they cause too much emotional stress. And there was even one I read that said you shouldn't get your kid a dog or cat. You should get them a hamster or a guinea pig that you can just keep replacing. No. Any pet owner will tell you that they live for their dog or their cat, particularly seniors. I'm at the park every day. Dell is now 83. He was 75 when I met him. He's now 83. And Harley is now 7. And Dell is out there every fucking morning with Harley. And he's healthy as an 83-year-old can be. And they give you a reason to get up. This morning I hugged Ember and I said, you're the last thing I see at night and you're the first thing I see in the morning. And that's just okay with me. Where is the girl? Oh, she's around here somewhere. So any pet owner will tell you that of course they help you live longer. There are my sister in the ICU. The main reason she is fighting, and she has articulated this, is to get home to her dogs. That is in her mind in the ICU, that she has to live because she has to get home to her dogs. They are literally giving her a reason to fight, and she's not alone. So any research that comes along that says they don't help you live longer is a person who's never had a pet. So LA Times, I appreciate that you're trying to be unbiased and present two sides to the story, but there aren't two sides to the story. We know that you exercise more if you have a pet. We know that your emotional well-being is better if you have a pet. And we know that you live longer if you have a pet. Any research to the contrary is anecdotal. I love that. Darren Holmquist says, my husband and I both live for our dogs. Yes, of course. Yeah. Because I just read the story in the LA Times and it said, do you live longer if you have a pet? Well, that depends. And they go through the fact that, yes, you do exercise more if you have a dog, particularly, but with cats too, that you do exercise more and that you are more engaged socially. You tend to have a bigger social circle because of the people you see walking your dog. All of that. So when I read that story and then it got to the but, it causes emotional duress. It can actually shorten your life from this stress and this duress. And I'm just like, oh, please. If you love anything, a human, a pet, whatever, it only leads to one place, heartbreak. Because all relationships end. Every single relationship you have will end. Either the person will die, you will die, or they will leave. All relationships end. There is this notion that relationships go on forever and ever. Nope, they all end. The relationship you have with your mom and dad will end. They will die. Now, you'll still have one in your heart with their spirit and all of that. But the physical relationship, all physical relationships end because either the person or whatever leaves or they die. Trust me. I've been through it 1,000 times now with friends and husbands. They die or they leave. And you look at me and Karen. I never thought our relationship would end. We don't talk. I've tried. I've called her 3 times in the last month. Me and Ken, friends for 35 years, ended in one day because I called him a drunk. And he was. Anyway, so, relationships end. They all end. And so the notion that a pet would be any different, it just ends sooner. A relationship, it's like having a child and then they die at 15 or 20. It's rough. It's rough. But the notion that anything goes on forever and that you're not going to have heartbreak, if you love, you're going to have heartbreak. That's just it. If you love anything, whatever you love will one day go away and it's going to break your heart. That's just the way of the world. Or you're going to go away and break theirs. But if you love, it leads one place, to heartbreak. So the notion that if you don't have a pet, you're insulating yourself from some sort of future heartbreak, is fucking ridiculous. I mean, sure, you could live a completely solitary life with no friends, not acknowledge your family, and have no pets. That sounds heartbreaking to me in and of itself. So, LA Times, I read your story. I Appreciate you trying to show both sides of the coin, but there isn't one. Pets make you live healthier, longer, happy lives. And if you don't think so, you've never had a pet. It's that simple. A parrot. You could give your child a parrot, and that parrot will, if you give your child, which I don't condone keeping birds, FYI, I do not. I think it's cruel. I think it's so cruel to keep a bird. I do. But hypothetically, if you gave your child a African gray or something when they were born, a cockatoo, they would have that bird their entire life. It would live the same amount of years as they would, because they live 80 to 100 years, like elephants. So the notion that, you're not going to have heartbreak if you don't have a pet, that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. James says his cat Bentley is the Brad Pitt of kitties. Oh, is he suave and debonair? Is he just a handsome lad? That'd be interesting. What else are we going to talk about today? Let's see. President Trump, yeah. Imminent threat, yeah. We all know he is. We all know that President Trump is an imminent threat to our safety. And he's shown no imminent threat from Iran to justify the war. But then again, the other thing I really want to talk to you about has been brought up by my sister being in the hospital. I know you hear this on TV a lot or on radio or whatever. I just wanted to drive this home. 50% of you do not have a will, a trust, an advance directive for health care, a medical power of attorney. Half of the people listening to me right now don't have a will or a trust or a durable power of attorney for health care or an advance directive, a living will. Half of you. What the actual fuck are you waiting for? Because just like all relationships end, your life is going to end. And you want it to end the way that you want it. And you want your stuff to go where you want it. So if that's true, you have to safeguard it. First of all, a living will, a durable power of attorney for healthcare and finances is a must. And you can download these forms on the web. All you need for a will is to download it, print it out, put in your wishes, you sign it, and have two people not named in the will sign it. Anybody. Could be the people at your UPS store. Could be the grocery store. Could be your checker. Could be anybody, your neighbor. Two people not in the will must sign the will along with you, and it's legal. That's it. That is not hard. You download it, you fill it out, and it could be simply, I leave everything to X. Sign it, have two people not named sign it, done. You have a will. Same thing for durable power of attorney for healthcare. Download it, sign it, have someone that is not named as the durable power of attorney sign it too. Done. That's it. You could have it by the end of today. You don't need lawyers. You don't need, not a justice of the peace, a notary public. You don't need them. You just need people that aren't named. Your neighbor could do it. The people at the park could do it. The people at Starbucks could do it. Anybody. They don't have to be your friend. You don't even have to know them. Download a packet today. They're all over the web. Fill out a will, fill out a living will, and a durable power of attorney for healthcare. Because otherwise, who's going to make your medical decisions? The doctor? A stranger? A person in your family that you don't want deciding your health care? So please, 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 if you're one of the 50% listening that does not have a will or a durable power of attorney for healthcare, go download them today, print them out, sign them, have them witnessed by anybody, make copies, and give them to people in your family. And give one to your doctor. And if you go in the hospital, be sure you bring it along so they know. Otherwise, they're guessing. It comes up because yesterday, the hospital my sister's in doesn't have all of her paperwork. So they called me to ask me if A, we wanted to intubate her again, should it come to that, and B, if they call a code and her heart stops, do I want them to give CPR? I said yes to the intubation if there's extubation on the other side of it. Meaning, if she's going on a tube short term, okay. But long term, no. And then no CPR. The doctor totally agreed, given her health care. Luckily, she's getting better. We won't need these decisions. But I'm the one that makes them. I'm her power of attorney for health care. So you need me. You need someone in your life. Go download the form. Please, today, do it. Please, 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 please.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Alrighty. Once again, thank everyone in the chat room at youtube.com/Really Karel. There's too many to name, but Sandy is always there, and James and Darren and Paul and just a bunch of people. Thank you very much. And thank all the patrons at patreon.com/Really Karel for joining and for being a patron and for supporting one of the top independent podcasts in the world. Thank you for that. Of course, after 35 years doing this, I would hope. So thank you all very, very much. I say things. Yeah, where is Phineas? There's always a guy in the chat room named Phineas. He went and had a colonoscopy yesterday. Hope he's okay from that. I say powerful things on this show. I do. And sometimes they can be interpreted as, mean. Okay? With Trump, I don't care. He is the biggest threat to the world. The biggest imminent threat is Donald Trump, not Iran, not nuclear weapons, not even the Russia-Ukraine thing. Donald Trump is the biggest imminent threat. And the Republican Party is a huge threat to our sovereignty, to our civil rights, to our well-being, to our... today in history... I wanted to talk about this, and I only got a few minutes left. But it's a very important day for America. Today in history, let me find it. Where is it? Oh, gosh. Well, I can't find it. But today in history, we adopted the Constitution. And also People magazine published its first magazine in 1974. And Hemingway finished The Old Man and the Sea today. Lucille Ball filed divorce in 1960 today from Desi Arnaz. John Candy died today in 1994. Today, Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated in 1861. Today in 2005, Martha Stewart was released from prison. And in 1789, today, March 4th, government under the U.S. Constitution began. Now, why this isn't a bigger day that we celebrate, I don't know. But in 1789, today, our country began operating under the U.S. Constitution. That is an incredible day for American history, because it is still one of the most beautifully flawed documents to ever exist. It is a beautifully written document. It is flawed. Remember, the founders didn't consider black people men. They were, 1/5 of a person. So it is flawed. But the beauty of it was that very flawed document gave us what we needed to fix it. It gave us the very tools to make it perfect and to keep it alive and keep it changing. I'd rather a man wear still the coat that fitted him as a boy, as Thomas Jefferson said so famously. So today, in 1789, we began living in a constitutional republic. That's huge. Okay? That's huge. Because today, the Constitution is under attack every day by those sworn to defend it. Donald Trump, Peter Hegseth, the generals in our army and military, because they are taking illegal, unconstitutional orders. The Iran war is unconstitutional. So today, the day that we started living under the Constitution, we should be worried about its survival. I am. We should be worried about the interpretations because people are getting that wrong. Our founders would not be happy with where we are now. They would not. I've studied them more than most of you, and trust me, they would not be happy about Donald Trump and his administration. They just wouldn't be. And they would wonder why we're putting up with it, why we're not impeaching. They gave us the power. 3 branches of government, checks and balances, all in this beautiful document. The same document that says he can't run again, and the same document that says he cannot dictate what happens in the elections or when or if they even happen. That beautiful document that we started living under today in 1879. What an incredible day in America. The day we started living under the document we have now sworn to protect and defend. That's a big day. That's a big day. What else happened today? Mian Bagger became the first transgender athlete to play in a pro golf tournament in 2004. Ronald Reagan and Nancy Davis married today, their anniversary. That's nice. So those are all things that happened today. John Lennon sparked his first major controversy today in 1966. Doesn't say what that is. Any of you know what his first major controversy was? People magazine launched, and FDR was inaugurated in 1933. And Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated today. Why in March? Why was Inauguration Day in March? What, the height of the Great Depression. Frank Delano Roosevelt was inaugurated. Why in March? The same for Abraham Lincoln. He was inaugurated today. Again, why in March? Why was March 4th Inauguration Day and now it's January 20th? That's interesting. I wonder how that changed. I'll have to look that up for tomorrow. All right. I am Karel. You be who you want to be, so I don't hurt anybody. Again, I'm sorry I was late today. I had a motorcycle issue, and now that's going to cost $1,900. Woohoo! Lucky me! The hits just keep on coming. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, for our final show of the week. Hopefully it'll be a little more entertainment focused. Get our mind off of the Iran war. And be, tomorrow's going to be a bad day for Ember. It's going to be windy here in Las Vegas, so she'll be hiding under things all day long. She acts like the wind is going to blow into the house and topple something on top of her. I don't know. Meanwhile, follow me on social media, Karel Official on Instagram and Official Karel on TikTok. Go to my Instagram, Karel Official, Karel Official. Go follow me. Go follow me.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service.